Hey guys, I'm here today to do an update for the months of February and March and to chat about how I'm getting on with my reducing my TBR challenge for the year. Now I'm still sort of struggling as to how to format these videos because I don't want to review or wrap up the books here because that would make this video super long, but then there's always the temptation to do that, so I'm going to sort of whiz through these books and I'm going to review these books, or I will have already reviewed these books in other videos if I'm interested in talking about them more, because I just don't want to talk about books that I'm not really bothered about talking about anymore. So this video is much more focused on, you know, the numbers and if I'm managing to reach my challenges. I've also decided that I'm not going to talk about the books I DNF'd here or unhauled in this video, just because it's 2 months worth, there's an awful lot. I am willing to do a quarterly video about the books I DNF'd, so if you guys are interested in hearing which books I started to read and then gave up on and why, then I'm willing to do that, so do let me know down below if that's something you're interested in. And probably in other months I will talk about the books I decided to unhaul, if I had to unhaul any. It's just that this video is, you know, going to be long because I've missed a month, so I'm just going to talk about which books I managed to read and then where I'm at with the numbers. There's all that. So in February I read 6 books and 4 of those were new to me books. So one of them was Bluebird by Attica Locke. I listened to that one on audio. It doesn't really count towards any of my goals because I'm not really bothered about audiobooks and how they work out, so it wasn't a book I owned, so it didn't count off my 9, but I listened to that one. And then we have 3 books that were new to me books that I managed to read within the 6-week deadline. So we have Swan Song by Kerry Andrew and Sing Unburied Sing by Desmond Ward. I've reviewed both of these books, so I'll link the review for that up here so you can go and watch those reviews if you're interested. And then I also read The Wicked Cometh by Laura Carlin. I haven't reviewed this one yet, but I will do shortly. So I managed to read all 3 of those books within the 6 weeks allocated for them. And then I also read Why God Is a Woman by Nina Andrews. This is a poetry collection. I've mentioned this in another video in that it was a book I owned prior to the start of this year, but for whatever reason it hadn't made it onto my list, so I couldn't count it as one of the 9 because of the way I sort of calculated all the maths. So I did read this. It is a book I'd owned for a while, but I couldn't count it as one of the 9. So the only book I actually read that did count as one of the 9 was The Carhullan Army by Sarah Hall. So I was going to an event to see Sarah Hall talk, so I wanted to try and read this book because it was the one book I owned by her. And I did manage that. No, I think when I was at the event I was halfway through it, so I didn't even manage to read it before the event. But I really enjoyed the event anyway. So yeah, that was the only book I managed to read in February. That was one of the 9 books to reduce my TBR. So I DNF'd 4 books in February. I got partway through and decided not to carry on. And then I just chose 4 other books to unhaul in February. So as I said, I'm not going to talk about those here just for time, but I did manage to stick to my rule of 9 books unhauled or like off my TBR in February, so I managed that then. And then March went downhill even more because I only managed to read 3 books. So yeah, just getting worse and worse throughout the year. So I read The Trick to Time by Kit Dewall. This was a new to me book and I did manage to read it within the 6 weeks, so there's that one. Again, I'll review that one soon. And then I managed to read 2 books off my physical bookshelves, and that is Heft by Liz Moore and Midwinter by Fiona Melrose. I really enjoyed both of these books, so I'm going to be doing a review of these 2 and another book as well very, very soon. So there's those. So yeah, I managed to read 2 books off my TBR. So I've just chosen 7 books to unhaul. Now I did read quite a few chunks from each of those books, like for the first chapter, midway through, to make sure that I was sure I didn't want to keep them, and I am sure. So yeah, decided to get rid of all of those. So in terms of the reducing my TBR by 9, I'm doing well. Each month I have reduced my TBR by 9. My preference would obviously be to reduce it by 9 because I'm reading those books, not because I'm forcing myself to unhaul. But either way, it's achieving the same end result in that it's forcing me to reduce the amount of books I own, and so far I feel like I don't regret any of the books I've unhauled. They're all books that, you know, I just had for years and was probably not going to pick up over plenty of other books that I was much more interested in, or I'd like learned more about them and just realised that they weren't what I thought they were. So there's all that. Now we're going to talk about the reading books within 6 weeks, because not doing so well on that one. So basically I stopped reading really in February, like compared to what I usually read, and I'd bought myself quite a few books in January that I was so excited about, and then because I stopped reading I didn't read them. So I have 5 books here that I've broken my rule on. Now initially, when I'd broken the rule with one book and one book had gone past the 6-week deadline, I was considering giving myself like 3 books allowance for the whole year. So like there's 3 books you're allowed to go past the 6 weeks on. Well, I've now managed to go past the 6 week on 5 books, so that's not going to work. So the books are An Echo of Things to Come by James Islington. This Will Be My Undoing by Morgan Jerkins, which I am actually halfway through. Locking Up Our Own, Crime and Punishment in Black America by James Foreman Jr. When They Call You a Terrorist, a Black Lives Matter memoir by Patrice Khan-Cullors and Asha Bandel. And The Electric Michelangelo by Sarah Hall. Again, bought this one because I wanted to read it before the event, didn't. So this was the most recent one, and I was supposed to read this by the 22nd of March, but the other 4 I was supposed to have read by like the 23rd of February, so like I'm like way more than 6 weeks late on them. So yeah, I don't know what I'm going to do because, well, I do. I was supposed to get rid of them if I didn't read them within 6 weeks. That's not going to happen. I'm massively excited about these books. I chose to buy them. I'm not going to unhaul them. So obviously I'm not being particularly good at keeping myself in check, basically, because I'm not doing what I said I was going to do. But did anyone ever really believe that I was going to unhaul books I genuinely wanted to read? No, probably not. But I was hoping it would force me not to get to that point. It hasn't. But this is how I feel about the whole thing. I feel like this is all so much more affected by the fact that I'm not reading than by the fact that I'm reading like the wrong books. So it's not like I'm not reading my own books, but I'm reading loads of books I bought. Or it's not vice versa, like I'm reading loads of books I already owned, but not the ones I bought. Like that isn't the reason I'm breaking these rules. I'm breaking these rules because I'm not really reading enough to hit the very difficult rules I've created for myself. So I said 9 books a month because I'm very comfortable with knowing that my average is 12 books a month. So that would give me 9 books a month to read off my shelves and then 3 new books, which I think seems like a reasonable amount. And I always DNF, so it wouldn't even be 9 books off my shelf because I DNF a couple, so inevitably I'd be able to read a few more books that were new. But because I haven't been reading, it's meant that I just can't physically hit those numbers. So I've had a few, you know, thoughts as to whether I reduce the number from 9, I reduce it down and accept that I'm just not reading a lot, or do I accept that I need to, well, I considered not unhauling any books in March and like spreading out those 7 books across the rest of the year. But then I decided I didn't want to increase the number from 9 in other months because it's already hard enough, and that it wasn't really hard to unhaul those 7. So yeah. Basically, I'm sort of accepting that I want to still hit the end of the year target of only owning 100 books, but I'm sort of willing to have ebbs and flows in getting there. So some months I might do better than others and some months I might do worse, but as long as it averages out overall, then it's not the end of the world. I mean, within a 3-month period, January, February, March, I've managed to reduce my TBR by 27 books, which was the target, 9 books each month. And I have taken 5 books over, which I didn't manage to read in the 6 weeks. That isn't great, like I'd be much more comfortable if it was like 1 a month. But yeah, that's happened. But like I said, I just feel sort of, I feel okay about it because I just feel like it's because I've not been reading. So I really do feel like I'm getting back into reading after reading Heft and Midwinter last month and just really enjoying them. And like I did a video recently where I sort of mentioned a lot of the reason I've been sort of busier and stuff, and that's sort of hopefully gone now, and I think I'll have a lot more time. So I'm just hoping to have an amazing reading month in March and to in April, sorry, and to power through loads of stuff and to pull it back. Now, I don't know if I'm going to be able to pull back the hauled books. And the reason for that is is that as well as these 5 that I've broken the rule with, I have like another 10 books that I've been sent recently for review that I've either requested or been sent unrequested but wanted to keep, that I need to read by like the end of April, mid-May. So if I focus on all the new books, you know, clearing those 5 that I've broken the rule on, and then all the other ones, making sure I get them read by their date, then I'm not going to manage my 9, and I want to manage as close to 9 as I can because I really want to not keep having to unhaul books without reading them. So I feel like at the end of April I'm not going to come clear with not breaking any rules, but I'd like to be evening myself out and getting myself closer to the point of having less rules broken, and perhaps by the end of May like have no rules broken. Or like, when I say no rules broken, basically have read 9 books of my TBR and have no books that have gone over the 6-week deadline. So yeah, that's probably my aim, to have, like, by the end of May be in like the place where I wanted to be. So yeah, that's how it's all going. Do let me know if you have any thoughts, and also do let me know if you would like to see like quarterly DNF videos as to why I decided not to finish a book. And anything else like that, because I know these videos don't really have details about the books as much, because I focus on reviews, but it does mean you don't get to hear about my reasons for like DNFing or not keeping a book. So let me know if you'd like to hear about any of that. So yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!